Lesson 1.1a, Powers and Exponents. So we are talking about taking a number known as a base to a particular power, which is an exponent. So there's some very important words that are in the box. We have the base and the exponent. 3 is the base because that's the number that's taken to the power. The exponent just means how many times you take the base times itself, used as a factor is what they're saying. So 3 to the 4th power means you would do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. It's called common factors. And if you multiplied 3 times itself 4 times, it's 81. I don't want you to think, oh, 3 times itself 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12. No, no, no. That's not what we're saying. We're saying 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So just imagine if I take the first 3 times 3, isn't that 9? And if I take the second set of 3 times 3, isn't that 9? And 9 times 9, isn't that 81? So 3 to the 4th power is 81. With these problems, they could be presented to you basically 3 different ways, it looks like. So these 3 examples that I'm going to discuss, you will be doing problems like all 3 of these. So example 1, write 6 to the 3rd power as a product of the same factor. It's going to be really important that you understand the vocabulary words for the directions, because I really believe you guys can do these problems. You won't really have problems doing it. It's just, okay, what do those directions mean? So write 6 to the 3rd as a product of the same factor. What does product mean?
Remember you get from the multiplication problem?
Multiplication problem, the answer to a multiplication problem. So we're going to be multiplying. So 6 to the 3rd power written as a product of the same factor would be 6 times 6 times 6. 6, the base, 3 times. Okay, now evaluate 5 to the 4th. This is where you're actually doing some calculating. So if it says 5 to the 4th and you have to evaluate, maybe on your paper if you would, put evaluate means solve. Go ahead and write that on your notes. Evaluate means solve. That's important to know that because you will be doing evaluating lots of times. So evaluate means solve. 5 to the 4th power, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And you can do it like I was showing you with the 3s up there. You can say, okay, I know that the first 5 times 5 is 25, and the second 5 times 5 is 25, and then take 25 times 25. So 625. And I would like for you to do these today to start off without a calculator. I think it's good to kind of get your brain working again from summer break. You've been off, you've been sleeping in, you've been playing, what's that game that's so popular? Fortnite. You've been playing Fortnite. You haven't been doing any actual basic facts. So let's get back on the swing of things by doing some calculations by hand like that. So write as a product of the same factor. That means write it out. This is the base that many times. Evaluate, you're going to be doing some multiplication. And then write 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 in exponential form. Exponential form means with an exponent. Okay, you probably should go ahead and write that on your notes. Exponential form means with an exponent. Exponential form means with an exponent. So as they're looking at the problem, it shows that it must be the base is 4, and it's written as a factor 5 times. When the factor is written and it's 5 times, that means that's going to be your exponent. So you would take that and write it 4 to the 5th power. So that's the 3 kinds of problems you're going to be given, and now we're going to look at doing some of those examples I had you guys write out. Does anybody have any questions about the things that I wanted you to have written down or anything I have there in red? We good? Exponents are good? You did that last year maybe? Good deal. All right, let's look at some examples. Okay, and these will be worth tickets. So, example number 1. Write each power as a product of the same factor. So that says 7 to the 3rd power. Dylan, what is it?
7 times 7 times 7.
Yep, you should write 7 times 7 times 7. That's writing it out as a product of the same factor. Okay, number 3. Number 3, 3 to the 4th. Tell me your first name.
Caden.
Caden? Caden, what would you write?
I would write 3 times 3 times 3 times 3.
3 times 3 times 3 times 3. You take the base 3 and write it 4 times. All right, the next ones are going to take a little bit of work. So you might have to do some work writing this out. So number 5 says evaluate each expression. Evaluate means what word? Everybody? Solve. So 3 to the 5th power. Tell me your name. Jacob, what am I going to do? Okay, so I'm going to write that out like that, but then I got to evaluate it. So what should I do? Multiply 3 times 3, which is how much? 9. And then I've got another 3 times 3 you told me to do, which is 9. And then 81. 200, good job. 243. So little tricks like that, that definitely works. 3 to the 5th power is 243. What?
Number 5, instead of 3, it's 6.
It says 6?
Yeah.
Number 7 is 8 to the 4th power. 8 to the 4th power. Anybody want to try it that hasn't already gotten a ticket? Okay. Nico, what do we do?
First you gotta do 8 times 8 times 8 times 8.
8 times 8 times 8 times 8. Yeah.
Then you get 4,090.
Okay. Well, how did you get there? Which way did you do it? Did you just start multiplying times 8 times 8? I mean, did you just do 8 times 8 is how much? 64. Now, my next question is, did you do the second 8 times 8 was 64, or did you just keep saying 64 times 8 and then that's what you did? Okay, so what is 64 times 8 then?
I erased it so I could.
You erased it? Okay, so I'm glad he said that, because here's what I'm going to tell you. Anytime you're doing your work, don't erase anything because you're afraid it looks too messy. We want to see your work in case you messed up so we can figure out where we got it. Somebody have 64 times 8? What is it?
512.
512. And then we take it times 8 again. Now, what did you say your final answer was over here?
4,090.
4,090. You are so close. So close. Let me ask you this, Nico. If I was taking 512, let me write this a little bit differently. Watch this. And I took that times 8, and I started with 8 times 2. What is that? So would this ones place be a 90, a 90, or would it be a 9? What do you think? What's there? You said 16. No. Let's keep doing this problem. 8 times 2 is 16. All right. What about 8 times 1? plus, and then carry the 1, or add the 1. All right. And then what is 8 times 5? 40. So 4,096. So the 8 to the 4th power, we decided it was better to go keep multiplying just by 8 instead of doing the 64 times 64. So number 7 was 4,096. Now we're going to finish off with a different set of directions which say write each product in exponential form, and we wrote in our notes with an exponent. So number 9 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Emily, right?
Yeah.
Emily, what would we write?
2.
So what's the base?
2.
And how many times is it written?
4.
So 2 to the
4th
2 to the 4th power. The base of 2 with the exponent of 4. Okay, now, so we want to try to get people that haven't gotten tickets before. What's your name? Caden, number 11. 10 times 10 times 10 would be 10 to the 3rd power. It's the base of 10 written 3 times. Okay. Number 13, 12 times 12 times 12. I'm trying to think of your first name. Morgan. Morgan, what's number 13? 12 to the 3rd power, because it's the base of 12 written 3 times. And then number 15 is 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. What's your first name? Xander, what do you got? 6 to the 5th power. So it was the base of 6 written 5 times. So 6 to the 5th power. All right, are there any questions about any of these? The 3 different kinds of directions. Any questions?